brushless, censored, powerful. Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer RC. Today I just want to give you an update of what's happening with my RC fleet, as a couple of things have changed. First of all, I have sold my Rustler 4x4 VXL, the little truggy. I only bought it in the winter of this year, and I ran it only exclusively in the snow, mostly on paddle tires. Had a bit of a blast with it, but with my historic dislike of their new axles, which are no stronger than the old ones in my experience, and just some of the other things that are coming out on the market that are of interest to me, I decided now was a good time to let it go. And it's already gone. I sold it in 3 hours, posted up on Facebook Marketplace, and I sold it over the weekend. The Rustler 4x4 is left. What's going to take its place? The new Arrma Outcast 4S. So yes, I have ordered that new 1/10 scale Arrma Outcast, and it should be here in the next week. Then there's some other stuff that I'm going to do. I'm going to rotate my fleet a little bit. Something new that I recently picked up, and I did tell you I likely was not going to stay. The TA06 Pro, this is the Tamiya chassis. I've got it all boxed up here, ready to go. It already has been verbally sold, so this is on the way out the door. So I'm selling it as a roller with parts, with the nickel metal hydride, and all the parts trees that came with it, and the servo that came with as well. Now you may end up seeing this on YouTube eventually, because it actually is going to a YouTuber. I'm not going to disclose exactly who it is, but when he's ready to show it off, he will. Now, the next thing that I'm thinking about selling is the Wraith. This is the Axial Wraith Spawn, and I've only driven it 3 or 4 times, really not that much at all. And it is a fine RC. I'm just finding that it's not really exactly what I had hoped for. I was expecting it to be a little bit faster and drive a little bit more like a trail truck, and they just definitely do not. Because they've got this fully articulating chassis, there's no ladder system, so there is a lot of body flex. When you give it a lot of throttle, the torque twist rotates through the body, and it also torque steers the vehicle. And in order to transform this into what I had planned for, which was kind of a speed mud truck, monster truck style, the amount of money and parts that I would have to put into this would have been far beyond what I had initially thought. I would have to put in sway bars, and the sway bars are quite expensive. They're around $60 US for the Axial sway bar kit. There might be some knockoff ones that are cheaper, but it all just adds up. So I was going to have to do sway bars, I was going to order wheels and tires, I was going to look at changing the links, because everything that's on this Wraith Spawn is plastic, and quite soft plastic too, which is good for not being able to break it, but for driving, you really feel all of that flex everywhere. Like it's very, very flexible. This is probably on the way out the door to someone who is going to more appreciate this vehicle, and I'm going to replace it with something else. Need to get this bolted up and boxed up, and you will likely not see any more videos on the Wraith. Unless I end up picking up another one someday, that I might pick up one that has a bunch of upgrades on it. And I fully accept that I really didn't give it a lot of drive time to really flush out its capabilities. But for me, when I'm going to go out and spend some time outside with an RC, I tend to always pick something else. And I was finding that I was just never choosing to drive it. And to me, that tells me that I'm just not into that style of driving. As much as I thought I would enjoy a rock racer, it's just not for me. Now, what I have really enjoyed is my TRX4. And I decided I would try out this, the Redcat Gen 8 pack. So this is the slider chassis, and the reason why I chose this is just because it's quite a decent price point for the quality of components that you get. Also, I'm really sold on portal axles. All of the things I was just talking about with the Wraith, about how the torque twist, you can feel the torque twist through the chassis and through the steering. Portal axles eliminate that completely, because all of the torque is only directly on the wheels. It doesn't you don't feel it through any of the axles or any of the suspension. It is a very unique driving style that I'm kind of hooked on now when it comes to crawlers. And here it is. I've already actually got some wheels on it. These wheels are Super Swamper clones. They are actually branded as Super Swampers, but I got these either from Amazon or from eBay, and they came from China, so they're definitely not officially licensed, even though they do say Super Swamper on them. And they are beadlocks. I think it was like less than $30 Canadian for all 4. And they're quite nice wheels. They're Octel or something, and they come with these little beadlock center cap things if you want to cover up the nut. But we're not here to talk about the tires, we're here to talk about the truck. This is the, whoops, what was that? So this is the Gen 8 pack system, pre-assembled chassis kit, comes as a slider. This has a aluminum chassis, aluminum 4-link suspension on solid axles with portals. If I take a wheel off, there are portal axles behind each of these wheels. So it gives it that very nice, super crawlability, and it just raises the axle up that extra bit where it really does give you the equivalent of a 2.2 tire. That's the other reason why I didn't really like the Wraith that much, is because I'm so used to driving a vehicle that already has portals. The 2.2-inch tires gave me no advantage of clearance. The having the big axle on 2.2s gives you exactly the same clearance as 1.9s with portals. That's the point of the portals, is it eliminates all torque twist and it raises your axle and your pumpkin up to a 2.2-inch tire level. And I really, really like that. So I am going to build this out. I do have some electronics that I'm eyeing up. I did originally have a plan to kind of make it cheap and throw in a really low-end brush system, but now I'm thinking about taking it more high-end and putting in something brushless, sensored, powerful, and seeing how much power can this thing really take, because it is composite gears inside of the transmission, which sits down low under the battery tray. That's why there's a little hump here that some people don't like, and it does have a composite spur gear, a slipper clutch system. But overall, the build quality of this thing seems quite good. I am quite impressed with it. There's a couple of weird little things that I noticed though that I didn't really do enough research on, because I would have liked it if they had have included it. And that is, you do not get the inner fender wells. So you don't get the inner fenders, which come on the Gen 8 Scout. So the wheels are completely open, and I looked up that part. It's less than $10 for that part. So I almost, when they announced this, it was supposed to come out at $199 US, and then they realized that they had overpriced it, so they brought it down to $169.99 US, $170 US. And so I was thinking, well, if they had to just threw in a couple of extra little things that it doesn't have, such as if they had to put in the inner fender wells, that would have been nice. You also don't get rock sliders. So on the factory ready to run build, there are rock sliders that come off of these attach points and hang down, and that's what you slide rocks on when you're driving. You don't get that out of the box. You do get these nice fully aluminum shocks, all the aluminum links, aluminum end bell. Overall, the quality of this thing seems quite good. It's got a really nice build quality to it. It's got good rigidity. It's got nice articulation. Overall, I like it. It's just kind of being mocked up right now. I was trying to decide what bodies I wanted to use on it, and I'm pretty excited to get this thing built out. It does come with a pack of screws, a fairly heavy aluminum steering arm, and it comes with these little end cap things for your wheels if you choose to put them on, but they didn't fit on my new wheels over the nut. They fall right off. So that's fine. They don't look that great anyway. What else did it come with? Oh, the bumpers. So the bumpers do just pull on. The bumpers are fully adjustable. They just pull on and pull off, and they will bolt on. You bolt them in the length that you want. Same with the rear. You can choose to run the rear or not, and the rear comes with the hitch attachment, but it doesn't come with any of the D-rings or anything, so it just has the hitch points. There's probably that $30 that they reduced. I would have almost rather that they kept it at $199 and included those $30 worth of parts. You do also get two little Velcro straps. That's for holding your battery down on the battery tray. And anyway, I'm just going to learn more about it as we go. It should be a fun build. One thing I did notice about this vehicle, the instructions, you really can't rely on this for instructions. This is mostly just for learning how to change the wheelbase of the vehicle, which is fully adjustable. So the wheels on this are currently in the mid position, in the middle. You can bring them in and you can bring them out. And the cool thing about that is you can do it without buying new links, because what they've done is they've added mounting points, 3 mounting points for each link point. So you can bring them way in or bring them way out, and that's pretty cool. But the one thing I have noticed about that is that the frame itself is still quite long. So the metal of the frame, if I take the bumper off, the metal of the frame actually sticks back behind the wheel quite a bit. So if you're going to bring the wheel in, your chassis is going to be quite long. And the same for if I pull off the front bumper. The actual current wheelbase as you get it out of the pack system is almost exactly the same as the long wheelbase TRX4. And the same is that the chassis rails are almost just as long as a TRX4. And I had originally thought about putting a body on this that I may not be able to do now because the frame rails are quite a bit longer. And maybe I could chop it, or you can actually take off this front plastic piece, but it is all molded into the shock tower, so that might not work very well. But the rear goes metal all the way to the end. Anyway, let me show you the bodies I was going to think about putting on it. I picked this guy up. This was an old stock that I saw in my local hobby store, and I thought, oh, that'd be cool for a crawler. It's a Hummer H2. And this is designed for an old Revo or T-Max body style, so it's not designed for scale crawlers, but it's darn close. Like, it almost looks right on there. So I can adjust the wheelbase a little bit more to make it fit right. With the front bumper on, it looks decent, but my issue is that the frame rails stick way out the back, and so that looks kind of goofy. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. But anyway, I think I am going to just paint up this body and then decide if I like it or not. The other alternative that I found, and this is just kind of a weird thing that I do when I get new RCs, I like to see what do they look like when I put different bodies on them. And so look at how weird that, when you put the rear bumper on, then it really sticks out. So I like swapping bodies around when I get a new chassis, and I thought actually this looked surprisingly cool. So I can lower this down more, but I thought that actually fit it quite well. This is the Baja Bug, Proline Baja Bug from Atraxis Slash, and I thought that was kind of a cool look. I'm probably not going to do this, but think about if it was lowered down, if it had slightly bigger tires, it might be pretty interesting. But primarily the setup for this is going to be the Hummer. That's going to be the starting point. And I'll come back to you later about what electronics I'm going to put in it and stuff. But while I was talking about the book is mostly designed to show you how to adjust the links and how to adjust the slipper clutch. But what it doesn't show you at all is how to maintain the vehicle or how to install electronics. So you have to figure that stuff out on your own, and or look up videos or go and download some of the other documentation for this vehicle. But things like even just getting the transmission open, I had originally looked at this and was trying to figure out how in the heck do you get in there to look at the spur gear and figure out how to actually access it. And it's one little 1.5 mil screw that's down here at the base of it, and you take that one out, and then this top cover pulls off. That's how you get at your gear in there to mount the motor. And the motor sits over the front axle, which is cool. The motor and the servo sit pretty much over the front axle, giving it weight up front, and the battery sits in the middle and fairly low. That's another thing that I did not like about the Wraith, is the weight balance of it, with the battery near the back and the motor in the middle and up a little bit high. Its center of gravity was not that great, and it tended to fall over on its back at a fairly moderate angle. Like, you get it above maybe 35 to 40 degree angle and it would fall over on its back. Anyway, I'm not trying to nitpick the Wraith that bad. I'm just saying that I didn't enjoy it personally. I think I was trying to drive it too high speed on flat surfaces, which it's not designed for. So for this, I'm hoping it'll be a bit more versatile. This is geared very low. Because it does have portal axles, that increases your gear ratio by a huge amount. So you do have to put in a fairly speedy motor in this. I was surprised to learn that the Gen 8 comes with a 15-turn motor stock, as opposed to the Traxxas comes with like a 21-turn motor. So the gear reduction in this transmission is quite high. I think it actually says in here what it is. I can't find it, but there is a bunch of stats that are on the box that you don't get to see anywhere else. So here it shows you the portal axles and what's in them and how that works. Here's some of the items you need to complete. So you need a body, you need tires, you need a radio, you need a battery, you need a servo and electronics, and there's the chassis as it comes. And then on this side, here's showing some of the transmission-based information. So here's what the chassis looks like, and there's the transmission. Also, it does have a high steering angle, 47-degree steering angle, very much like the TRX4. So that's what's happening. Since I do enjoy the Portal so much, I am going to try the Gen 8 because it does have them. And it's also a scale truck, so it'll allow me to do the competitions in Class 1, which I do think I would prefer over trying to run a Wraith in Class 2 when I go to a scale competition. Alright guys, I guess that's it for an update for now. And look forward to more videos about the Gen 8 as I get it ready to run. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.